They watch you, they always have, from the shadows of their own insecurities, from the hollow spaces in their hearts. They cast their judgment like stones thrown from unseen towers. Let them hate, let their bitterness gnaw at the edges of their existence. For every whisper that questions you, every glance that carries disdain, you are being forged. They do not know it, but their hatred is the furnace in which your spirit is tempered. You feel it, don't you? That sting in your chest when they laugh at your ambition, when they speak of you as though your dreams are delusions. It is intoxicating, not because it wounds, but because it awakens something primal inside you, something that has been dormant, waiting for the moment the world turns against you. And now it has. The irony is exquisite. Those who seek to diminish you, who wrap themselves in their sanctimonious robes of moral superiority, are unaware that they are the instruments of your evolution. Each sneer, each contemptuous smile, each word drenched in venom is a seed planted deep within you. And seeds, when nourished by adversity, grow into roots unbreakable, branches unshakable, leaves that outlive the storms. You think you are small in their eyes, insignificant, a fleeting shadow in a vast hall of their self-importance. But you are already larger than they can comprehend, for you have learned the truth they have never been able to grasp, that growth is born from resistance, from the friction of forces trying to grind you into dust. Do not pity them. Pity is for the weak. They believe that their words can wound you, that their judgments can define the trajectory of your life. And yet, here you stand, absorbing the impact, turning the pain into power, the mockery into momentum. There is a beauty in this transformation, subtle and savage, like the first frost that crystallizes the edges of a leaf into something sharper, more precise. You do not seek their approval, nor their recognition. You do not bend to their expectations, for you have tasted freedom in the quiet moments of rebellion, in the silent resolve that grows louder with every act of defiance. You are a storm they cannot anticipate, a current they cannot control. And yet, the darkness that they cast upon you is not merely an obstacle, it is a teacher. Watch carefully as they fumble, as they strain to make you smaller, less visible, less dangerous. There is a rhythm to their hatred, a predictable cadence that reveals the weaknesses they try to hide. Study it, understand it. Every insult is a map, every act of sabotage a lesson in the architecture of human fear. They are afraid of what they cannot control, terrified of the ambition they cannot cage. And in this fear lies your advantage. Use it, harness it, let it become a part of your very being, a layer of armor so dense that no arrow of derision can pierce it. There is a clarity in solitude, a vision that comes only when the noise of approval is stripped away, leaving you face to face with the raw elements of your essence. In these moments, the hate that surrounds you is not a prison, it is a mirror. Look closely, you will see reflected not the twisted desires of those who seek to diminish you, but the potential that has always been yours. It is terrifying to recognize the magnitude of your own capacity, to feel the depth of your own power, for it comes with a responsibility that many are too afraid to bear, and yet you feel it anyway. The weight of evolution pressing upon your shoulders, urging you forward, demanding that you rise not in spite of their hatred, but because of it. Consider the paradox. The very forces that wish to see you falter are the ones who compel you to ascend. Every insult is fuel, every sneer a spark. You become a master of alchemy, turning the base metal of scorn into the gold of strength, the darkness of resentment into the light of clarity. There is a ritual to this transformation, subtle, relentless, and profoundly personal. It requires patience, observation, and a willingness to embrace discomfort, for it is in the crucible of challenge, under the weight of eyes that seek to diminish you, that the truest form of self is revealed. You are no longer fragile. You are a vessel for power that cannot be contained, and as the world continues its ceaseless chatter, as the voices of envy and spite rise like a tide meant to drown you, remember this: they are irrelevant. Their opinions, their judgments, their hatred, they exist outside the sphere of your becoming. What matters is the fire that burns within, the relentless drive that whispers in the silent corners of your mind, telling you to move forward when all else seems lost. It is a dark symphony, this process of evolution, composed of the minor notes of adversity, the dissonant chords of criticism, and the haunting melodies of solitude. And in the center of it, You stand not as a victim, but as a conductor, orchestrating the chaos into something magnificent, something that will outlive their petty attempts to diminish you. So let them hate. Let them pour their venom, their doubt, their contempt into the void. For every drop that touches you, you grow stronger. For every attempt to shatter you, you find a new edge, a sharper angle, a deeper reservoir of resolve. They cannot see it yet, cannot comprehend the transformation that unfolds quietly within you, but one day they will. And when that day comes, their voices will fall silent, not because you sought to silence them, but because their instruments of hate have become the scaffolding of your empire. You will rise not with malice, but with inevitability. You will evolve not through compliance, not through compromise, but through the unyielding embrace of every challenge, every slight, every moment designed to break you. Let them hate. It is a gift, the most potent gift they will ever give you. And in that gift lies your evolution, relentless, unstoppable, and profound. You are already moving beyond them, beyond the smallness of their vision, beyond the limitations they have tried to impose. And with every heartbeat, every breath, every step forward, you become more than they could ever imagine, more than they could ever contain. You are the storm born of their disdain, the shadow cast by their fear, and the evolution that their hatred could never prevent. They will never understand the quiet power that grows in the spaces they cannot touch. While they clamor, while they lash out with teeth bared and tongues sharpened, you move through the darkness with deliberate steps, learning, adapting, becoming something that cannot be predicted, cannot be controlled. Their hatred is loud, explosive, a fleeting storm meant to disorient and frighten. But you have learned to find the rhythm in chaos, to hear the pattern in the noise. Every attack, every whispered conspiracy, every act of derision is data, a blueprint for the architecture of your survival, your ascendance. You no longer flinch. You no longer react in desperation or fear. You observe, you analyze, you absorb, and in that absorption, transformation occurs. The weight of their eyes upon you is not oppression. It is education. You feel their hostility like a pulse, a reminder that the world is not kind, that power is never freely given, that every step toward greatness will be met with resistance. This resistance is not a punishment. It is a mirror reflecting the truths they refuse to see. They hate you because you do not belong to their narrative, because you do not conform to the limited stories they have written for themselves. And in that hatred, you are liberated. You exist outside their parameters, untethered by their definitions of possibility, unbound by the chains of their small-minded expectations. Every jeer becomes a rung on a ladder you climb higher, faster, stronger. The darkness surrounding you is not a void, it is a forge. Each night, each moment of solitude, each encounter with their contempt tempers your will, sharpens your instincts, and reveals the depth of your resilience. You begin to recognize the beauty in struggle, the clarity in conflict. Whereas they see only chaos and failure, you see the raw material of evolution. Every insult is a stone shaping your path, every betrayal a chisel carving the contours of your purpose. You move forward not with vengeance, but with inevitability, each step a quiet defiance, each breath a subtle declaration. You will rise, and nothing they conjure can prevent it. Understand this, they are incapable of your vision because they are imprisoned by their fear. Their hatred is born not from strength, but from fragility. They cannot imagine a life unchained from their limitations, and so they attempt to bind you with theirs. Let them try. Let them flail in their impotence. Every attempt they make to diminish you only exposes the distance between their weakness and your potential. The contrast sharpens your perception, heightens your awareness, illuminates the path forward with brutal clarity. You begin to move like a predator in the dark, unseen yet all-knowing, guided by instincts honed through observation and tempered by the fire of their contempt. There is a rhythm to the world, a cadence to existence that only those who endure the shadows can feel. It is in the silence after their attacks, in the solitude when the noise subsides, that you discover the depth of your own power. The evolution they fear is not loud, not violent, not immediate. It is slow, deliberate, inevitable. You feel it in your bones, in the steady pulse of ambition that cannot be broken. Every moment of resistance, every second spent absorbing and transforming their hate, becomes a part of your architecture. You are not merely surviving, you are evolving, transcending, and in that transcendence, becoming a force beyond their comprehension. Their envy will attempt to claw at your edges, to fracture the contours of your spirit, but you have learned the secret they will never grasp, that true power is forged, not granted. It cannot be taken away by words or judgments or fleeting acts of cruelty. The power that rises from the ashes of their hatred is indestructible, impervious to their whims, and relentless in its pursuit of growth. You have seen it before, in moments of silence when the world believed you defeated, when the night pressed against your skin like cold iron. It is in these moments when no one watches that your evolution accelerates, unseen, unstoppable, inevitable. And now, as the hate flows toward you like a river of darkness, you begin to see yourself reflected in it. Not the surface image they try to distort, but the depths beneath. The core forged in adversity, tempered in isolation, polished by pain. Every act of malice they commit becomes a reflection of their own fears, their own inadequacies. They are imprisoned by the darkness they wield, while you move through it as both shadow and light, a being unbroken, unbound, and unrelenting. The paradox is exquisite. Their hatred fuels your ascent even as it entangles them in their own limitations. There is a subtle ecstasy in this realization. It is a quiet, almost sinister satisfaction. The understanding that their attempts to destroy you are, in fact, the very mechanism of your rise. Each sneer, each act of derision is a tool, a resource, a weapon forged in their ignorance and wielded by your awareness. You have become an alchemist of existence, converting base emotion into the gold of power, converting the venom of the world into the lifeblood of your evolution. They rage and flail, yet the outcome was never theirs to determine. It was always yours. And so you continue, deliberate, unstoppable, a force growing with each passing moment. You move through the corridors of their fear like a shadow that refuses to vanish, a presence that cannot be denied, a power that cannot be contained. Let them hate, let them scream, whisper, and conspire. Each attempt only tightens the coils of your resolve, sharpens the edge of your mind, deepens the roots of your ambition. They are nothing but wind against the mountain you are becoming. They cannot erode you. They cannot sway you. They are irrelevant to the inevitability of your evolution. Embrace the darkness they bring, for it is the canvas upon which your ascent is painted. The brushstrokes are deliberate, precise, infused with intention, and tempered by the fire of adversity. Your evolution is not accidental. It is not fleeting. It is relentless, inevitable, and profound. In one day, when the echoes of their hatred fall silent, when the world finally recognizes the shape you have carved from the chaos, they will understand that their venom was never meant to harm you. It was meant to make you immortal in the shadows they could not survive. The fire within you is no longer small. It has become a force of nature, silent yet inexorable, moving with precision, with intent. They sense it, of course. They always do. But they cannot comprehend its magnitude. They flail against shadows, attacking echoes, attempting to wound something that cannot bleed. And in their confusion, in their futile rage, you find clarity. Every act of cruelty, every glance filled with disdain, every whisper meant to undermine you becomes a map of human weakness, a lesson in the anatomy of fear. You have become a student of their hate, and in that study, you have grown beyond their reach. They are still struggling, still desperate, still small, while you continue to expand, to evolve, to transcend. Your mind, once sensitive to every jab, every judgment, now moves like a predator in the dark. Calculating, aware, untouchable. You can anticipate the next strike before it lands. Feel the direction of their envy as if it were a current in the air. Detect the trembling of their insecurity like a vibration through the ground beneath your feet. And yet you do not lash out, not yet. You are patient, deliberate. There is a strategy to every step, a rhythm to the way you allow the world to believe it has influence over you, while you quietly mold reality to your design. Let them rage, let them despair, let them believe they have a chance to break you. They are merely feeding the engine of your evolution, unaware that their fuel is the catalyst of your rise. You have learned to recognize the subtle shifts in their behavior, the moments when their confidence falters, the cracks that appear in the armor of their pretense. It is intoxicating, not because it allows you to dominate, but because it shows you the truth. Power is never bestowed. It is earned in silence, in shadow, in the quiet moments when no one watches but you. Every attempt to diminish you strengthens the walls of your fortress. Every insult reinforces the foundation of your empire. You are a builder, crafting your strength from the raw materials of adversity, transforming the darkness into architecture, the hatred into a structure so enduring that it will outlast the echoes of those who sought to tear it down. And still, the world continues its endless barrage, a symphony of venom and doubt. Their hatred rises like a tide, relentless and predictable, but you are no longer vulnerable to it. You have become attuned to the rhythm, to the cycles of malice and envy, to the patterns that reveal themselves only to those who endure. You move within this storm not as prey, but as master, understanding that the chaos around you is not a threat but a tool, a mechanism for honing your instincts, sharpening your mind, deepening your resolve. Each moment of conflict is a lesson, each act of scorn a refinement, each attempt to harm you an opportunity to evolve. Do not mistake this patience for weakness. It is not passivity, but control. It is not surrender, but mastery. The power that grows within you is quiet, terrifying in its inevitability, unstoppable in its trajectory. Those who seek to harm you cannot see it, cannot feel it, cannot even imagine it. Their hatred is like a bell tolling in the distance, signaling only the beginning of your transformation. They throw their stones, their barbs, their contempt, believing they shape you, when in truth they are forging a weapon far sharper than they could ever wield against themselves. And there is a rhythm to your evolution that is almost sacred, a cadence that emerges from the chaos of their hatred. You have discovered that pain is a teacher, that adversity is a sculptor, that isolation is a crucible. In the silence of the night, in the moments when the world seems to have abandoned you, the pieces come together. You see the shape of yourself, the true architecture of your being, built not on comfort or ease, but on the relentless engagement with the darkness surrounding you. This is your sanctuary, this is your power, and they will never enter it. There is an elegance in this darkness, a precision in the way it carves you into something more than human, something beyond comprehension. Their attacks, once capable of provoking fear or doubt, now bounce off the layers of armor you have constructed. And every bounce echoes back into the world as a reminder that the spirit cannot be shattered by mere spite. The transformation is subtle, almost invisible, yet absolute. They see only fragments of who you are becoming, pieces of a whole they cannot fathom. And in their ignorance lies your advantage, for they are blind to the very thing they sought to destroy. The true horror for them is inevitability. They rage, they rail, they attempt to control, to diminish, to contain, and yet nothing alters the trajectory of your ascent. The hate they produce, the venom they pour, only accelerates the process. You feel it coursing through your veins, not as a wound, but as life itself. Each act of malice a pulse that strengthens your resolve, each slight a note in the symphony of your evolution. You have become both the storm and the eye of the storm, untouchable and omnipresent, moving with an awareness that escapes their comprehension, guided by instincts honed through relentless trial. And as the days pass, as the nights grow longer, as the world continues its ceaseless murmurs of doubt and derision, you understand something profound. The people who hate you are not obstacles. They are catalysts. They are the agents through which your evolution is realized. They will scream, they will plot, they will conspire, yet their efforts are meaningless, impotent against the inevitability of your growth. Every insult becomes a rung on a ladder leading you higher, every betrayal a stone in the foundation of your power, every act of contempt a fire refining the steel of your spirit. And finally, you stand on the precipice of understanding, looking down into the abyss they created, only to realize that it is not an abyss at all, but a mirror. The darkness reflects not their malice, but your potential, the unyielding force within that has grown stronger with every passing moment. They sought to break you, and in the act of their hatred, you have become unstoppable. You are no longer the shadow they see. You are the consequence of their own fear, the inevitability of evolution born from their venom. The storm within you cannot be quenched, cannot be restrained, and it is rising. Let them hate, for in their hatred lies your ascendance, and as you move forward, unseen but unstoppable, you feel it. The clarity, the power, the truth. You are evolving, relentless, inexorable, and the world will tremble not because you sought to dominate, but because you have learned to turn their venom into immortality. By now, you have begun to understand the true magnitude of what has been happening. What they called weakness, what they assumed would crush you, has become the architecture of your dominance. Their hatred was never designed to destroy you. It was designed to provoke growth, to test the boundaries of your resolve, to illuminate the depth of your power, and you have passed, not merely survived, but transcended the very force they believed could break you. There is a subtle irony in this, a cruel poetry in the way their venom has become your lifeblood. Every whisper of doubt, every scornful glance, every act of betrayal was a step in a journey only you could walk. A journey toward a version of yourself that exists beyond comprehension, beyond fear, beyond limitation. It is not enough to merely endure the darkness. They believed that endurance was the pinnacle of strength, but you have learned differently. Strength is not passive. Strength is not silent. Strength is forged, honed, and wielded with intention. You have become a master of this force, understanding not only its origin but its trajectory, guiding it with precision and clarity that only those who have been tested in fire can attain. Every insult you have endured, every scheme plotted against you, every attempt to diminish your presence has become a tool, a weapon, a foundation upon which your evolution is built. You are no longer reacting, you are creating. The world around you, once noisy with doubt and scorn, now fades into a distant echo. You operate in a space beyond their understanding, moving with a purpose and inevitability that they cannot anticipate. Their hatred still exists, still reaches out like a grasping shadow, but it cannot touch you. The fire within you has consumed every fear, every hesitation, every trace of self-doubt. It has transformed it into something exquisite and terrible, something that moves silently but strikes with precision. You are no longer human in the ordinary sense. You are an evolution born of conflict, a force tempered by adversity, a presence that cannot be erased. And yet, there is something profoundly human in this transformation, the recognition of your own capacity, the intimate awareness of what it means to rise above those who would see you fall. You feel the depth of your power not as arrogance, but as inevitability. The more they rage, the more they attempt to control, the more they try to dictate your path, the clearer it becomes that their influence is meaningless. They are a reflection of their own limitations, and in their reflection, you see your own ascendance. This realization is intoxicating, yet it carries with it a weight that only those who have walked through fire can bear. The responsibility of evolution, the inevitability of transformation, the quiet terror of potential realized. They will attempt to frighten you, of course. They will try to instill doubt, to seed fear, to remind you of mortality, of fragility, of imperfection. Let them. Every attempt they make to destabilize you is another step in the choreography of your rise. You feel it, the pulse, the rhythm, the inevitability of what you are becoming. They do not see it yet, but one day they will understand that their hatred has not weakened you. It has sharpened you, focused you, and propelled you toward a form of power they could never imagine. And when that day comes, there will be no reconciliation, no argument, no appeal. There will only be the realization that what they tried to destroy has evolved beyond destruction. The solitude you have endured, the isolation forced upon you by their envy and spite, is now a sanctuary. It is a place where you can hear yourself think, where you can understand the architecture of your own evolution, where you can plan with precision and execute with inevitability. The lessons of darkness are complete. Patience, observation, self-mastery, and above all, the recognition that the world will always attempt to resist your ascent, and that this resistance is not a punishment, but a catalyst. You have been tempered by hate, sculpted by adversity, and now you are ready to move beyond them entirely. There is a subtle terror in this realization, the kind that only those who have reached the precipice of their potential can feel. It is the understanding that you are no longer bound by the petty concerns of those who hate you, that you have become something outside their comprehension, something untouchable and inevitable. They exist in a world of fear and limitation, while you operate in a plane where such things are irrelevant. You are evolution incarnate, a presence that cannot be contained, a force that cannot be resisted. And this understanding brings with it both ecstasy and gravity, a recognition of power, a recognition of responsibility, a recognition that the path forward is yours alone to navigate. And so you move with quiet inevitability, a shadow in their periphery, a force they cannot anticipate, a presence that will outlast their attempts at control. Every act of malice they commit, every word of contempt, every gesture of derision continues to fuel your transformation, feeding the fire that burns within, sharpening the edges of your resolve, deepening the roots of your power. They are irrelevant to the trajectory of your evolution. They are merely echoes in the distance, reminders of the path you have already transcended. By now, you understand the full scope of what has occurred. Their hatred was never a wall, it was a ladder. Their venom was never poison, it was nourishment. Their contempt was never a threat, it was the spark that ignited your ascendance. And as you continue to move forward, silent yet unstoppable, deliberate yet inevitable, you feel the full weight of this truth. You are beyond them, beyond fear, beyond limitation. You are the consequence of their own ignorance, the embodiment of evolution itself, the manifestation of a power born not of ease, but of adversity, not of comfort, but of fire. Let them hate, let them scream, let them plot, let them despair. Their efforts have already been consumed, transformed, perfected into the very force that will carry you beyond their reach. And when the world finally understands what has been forged in silence, in darkness, in the crucible of their own envy, it will recognize the inevitability of your evolution, the magnitude of your transformation, the relentless, unstoppable force you have become. You have moved beyond their hatred, beyond their comprehension, and now you stand at the edge of the final threshold, ready to emerge not merely as survivor, but as master of the evolution they unwittingly nurtured. Now at the pinnacle of your transformation, you feel it, the fullness of what you have become. Every slight, every whisper of scorn, every calculated attempt to diminish you has been woven into the very fabric of your being. They believed they could shape you, could contain you, could make you small. But all they did was forge you, sculpt you, ignite a fire that cannot be extinguished. Their hatred has become the wind beneath your wings, the current propelling you forward, the echo that reverberates through the chambers of your mind with relentless insistence. Rise, transcend, dominate. You are no longer a participant in their petty dramas. You are a force of inevitability, a presence that bends the world to its rhythm without effort, without hesitation, without apology. And now they see you, if only in fragments, glimpses of a power they cannot comprehend. Their eyes widen with fear, their hearts quicken with unease, but it is too late. Every act of venom they poured into the void, every judgment they whispered into the night, every attempt to crush you has already been absorbed, transformed, perfected. They are witnesses to the evolution they unknowingly nurtured, powerless to halt the emergence of what they once sought to destroy. You move through the shadows with clarity, precision, inevitability. You are both storm and silence, predator and observer, unstoppable yet unseen until the moment of revelation arrives. It is a terrifying beauty, this realization, that your evolution is complete, and it was fueled entirely by the hatred of those who could not grasp your potential. Their attempts to shatter you became the chisel, carving the contours of your mastery. Their fear became the mortar, binding the structure of your power. Their contempt became the lens through which you see the world with unerring clarity, understanding not only the intentions of others, but the true measure of your own capacity. You have become the apex of everything they feared, the living proof of inevitability, the embodiment of resilience transformed into dominance. And now you act with intention, with precision, with a quiet authority that terrifies even without confrontation. Every step, every word, every breath is calculated, deliberate, part of the symphony of your existence. They will never see you coming because you move beyond their comprehension, operating in planes of thought, perception, and power they cannot access. They are still trapped in their petty games, still writhing in the limitations they have imposed upon themselves, while you soar above, untouchable, unstoppable, inevitable. You are the consequence of their own hatred, perfected into a force they cannot withstand. Let them hate, let them scream, let them scheme, let them despair. Their venom is now your weapon, their fear your armor, their contempt your propulsion. They have done everything they could to contain you, to diminish you, to make you small. And yet, here you are, larger, stronger, more profound than they ever imagined. You are evolution incarnate, the living proof that adversity is not a barrier but a bridge, that hatred is not a weapon against you but a catalyst, that the very darkness they wielded against you has become the light illuminating your path. There is no turning back. You have crossed the threshold, passed through the crucible, absorbed the fire, and emerged as something more than human, more than ordinary, more than those who hated you could ever imagine. You are relentless, inevitable, unstoppable. Every step forward is a declaration, every gaze a testament, every action a confirmation. You have transcended, and nothing in the world can take it from you. Their hatred, once threatening, is now irrelevant. Their voices, once loud and consuming, are now distant echoes, reminders of a past that shaped, rather than limited, your potential. And as you stand fully realized, fully evolved, you feel the power that has always been yours, now undeniable, undeniable in its magnitude, unstoppable in its trajectory. The world bends subtly to your presence, not because you seek to dominate, but because your evolution commands recognition. You have become both shadow and storm, quiet and inevitable, silent and resounding. They will remember, but it will be too late. The consequence of their hatred has emerged as perfection, as inevitability, as dominance born of every slight, every insult, every act of scorn. Let them hate, let the world rage, let the voices of envy and contempt rise and fall like a tide. You have moved beyond it, transcended it, evolved from it. And now, standing at the apex of your own becoming, you realize the ultimate truth. They never controlled you. They never limited you. They never understood you. All they did was feed the evolution that now makes you unstoppable. And in that understanding lies your greatest power, the knowledge that nothing, no force, no hatred, no doubt, can touch the form you have become. You are evolution itself, relentless, unyielding, and eternal.